Welcome back, everyone. I hope you've had a nice day of interesting presentations about the different courses that we have at TLU. And I know a lot of you are really curious about what it's like to be an international student in TLU, but also in Tallinn as a whole. So we have a panel here of international students ready to share their experiences and fun adventures with you. So let's tune in and let's get started. Okay, everyone. So usually people have a lot of questions about what is it like to study in TLU? What is it like to be an international student in Tallinn? So we'll be covering a bit of that in this discussion. And would you like to start with what it's like to be in Tallinn or what it's like to be in TLU? Any preferences? No preferences? You have one.
Yeah, I think it's better to start with how it's to be in Tallinn because Tallinn is one of the most beautiful town. I must say the old town here is quite beautiful. So I must say that Tallinn is actually the most beautiful city of Europe to me. So I was attracted towards its beauty. I was like interested in coming up over here and to visit the old town and to see that like old architecture and everything. And then, of course, Tallinn University is in Tallinn.
Yes.
That's true. I have a word about our lovely city as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in Estonia for about 5 years, and Tallinn is great, I'd say. Because every time I'm about to go outside of Estonia, I was like, oh, I miss home, and I miss Tallinn, right? Because it's one of the cleanest cities of like all over Europe, to be honest. Tallinn University is also great. Loved the professors, loved the non-teaching staff as well. Everybody's just friendly and helpful, in my experience. And yeah, there's a lot more to say, but
We'll get into it.
we'll get into it. Yeah.
All right, Tony, what do you think about Tallinn?
I come from Hong Kong, so it's a very crowded place and a lot of people, a lot of high rises. And coming to Thailand is like very refreshing at first. And in the middle of the semester, I went to London just for a few days. And even like coming back, when I step off the airplane and when I just go out to the airport, I just feel like finally like
Yeah, even the airport is just really cozy anyway.
even though it's just a few months here. Yeah.
Yeah, I've lived in Tallinn for now it's like 2.5 years, 3 years almost, and I really like it because I'm from France, and sometimes it's not very comfy in France. I would say, especially as a woman, like when I go out at night, it's kind of not great. But in Tallinn, I've never had to worry, and so it kind of like it feels like you open doors to like a whole new way of living because you can just be really relaxed because it's so safe, and also it's quite small, so you can really just walk around. Like I've walked home at 2 a.m. by myself, and I was like, "This is fine." Like I was not worried at all, and it's like it's really lovely. It's really like comfy and cozy, and yeah, no, I agree. It's a beautiful city. I don't think I've met anyone who's been to Tallinn and went, "I didn't like it." Everybody's like, "Oh my god, I want to come back."
It gives a safe feel. Tallinn actually gives a safe feel, especially for like females. We don't like feel any sort of like people following us on the roads. Like back in my country, it was quite like hilarious. But here I feel more safer. I can travel on my own and feel very safe.
Absolutely. Now let's move the praises to Tallinn University because that's also what the students are curious about. So, what has been your experience studying in TLU so far? Like, has there been any surprises, things that you did not expect, or like good surprises, things that you didn't realize were going to be a part of your studies, but who came to be and you were glad to find them?
I can actually start. So, because I got here in 2019, and previously, before applying and everything, there was a particular part of the admission process where you could fill up whether you wanted a buddy, right? And so I was just like, yeah, I want that, right? Because again, I wasn't sure what the buddy system was about, but I just read a little bit about it, and basically, there's this person who's already here in Tallinn University who's gonna like help you out, show you around, and kind of like guide you with in case you need any sort of like student advice kind of thing. And so I signed up for that, and turns out it was the president of the Erasmus Student Network International Club that came to pick me up from the airport. And previously, like I remember I was on the plane and I'd written down some notes, and I was just like, man, I read online that Estonians are cold, right, and they're introverted, and so I was already prepared for that kind of atmosphere. And then I met this lady, and she was very warm, and she was talking a lot, and I was like, "What is this? There was a disconnect there, right?" And she was really fun, and she's like, "Yo, I'm gonna show you around. We're gonna go to Old Town. We're gonna do this." And and I tell this story all the time. She kind of made it easier for me because I was immediately put into like a social setting. I got to meet a lot of Estonian friends. She directed me to like my study counselor as well, who was really nice. Shout out to Maris Peters. Yeah, she was really nice. And so in my experience, like there's something you read online, and there's also the actual reality. And the reality is Estonians are warm, they're cozy. And that's been my experience, especially even at the university as well. Most of my friends are from the university, even till now. The professors, there's no hierarchy like that in terms of like how you can talk to them. So I send emails, I send Messenger, WhatsApp sometimes, like, I need help with this. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's talk about it. And that's been my experience with Tallinn University, I'd say.
Well, I would like to add that the Dream Apply platform, that is way easier. You can scan your documents and upload that. My experience of giving an interview was quite easy and relaxed. The panel was very, they're not making me nervous at all. So it was very good to go.
I've got the buddy experience as well. Actually, the same sort of surprise because like the second when I step off the flight, my buddy's waiting at the airport and helping move the luggages. And after a few days, he took me to it's not even part of the school. Like he's just hanging out with his friends and like there's this party or like there's this concert. Yeah, and then I just joined in and just had a great time with them. And and with all the like stereotypes and so on, and like there are international degrees and Estonian degrees, but still, I managed to know some people who are doing the Estonian degrees here, and I've got to say that I'm grateful that I just went for it anyway. See how it goes, and it's actually easier than I expected or thought. Yeah.
I will have to agree with the sort of disconnect because I also was kind of expecting, I had heard that like Estonia is very closed off and everything. But for me, it was my landlord, actually. Like I arrived and she was super nice and she like showed me around a little bit, like where I could go do my groceries as well. And even in general, like people in my area, like in my building, when I saw them, like they would say hello, like in Estonian, obviously. But even now, when I see my building, like sometimes I see my neighbors, they say hi, they have a dog, I pet them. Like Estonians can be really nice and really like helpful as well. Like, I don't know if it's happened to you, but like when you go to the grocery store and there's one product you took that you didn't put like the label on it because it was from the bakery and the lady doesn't send you back. She's like, wait. And then she goes all the way there and like she brings it back for you. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And for the buddy, as a buddy myself, I can only agree. I've been a buddy to quite a few people. And it's a fun experience on both sides because I also had a buddy. But I have been the one who went to the airport to pick up people, especially one that I remember is Irina, and she's so cute. And we became really good friends, and she came all the way from Japan. So it's kind of like, I was like, okay, it's a really big move. Also, she was quite young because she was 18, 19. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go like pick her up at the airport. And I like wrote on a paper, like welcome to Tallinn in Japanese. And she kept that paper. She hung it in her room in the dormitory. And this program is really nice as well because it's not a friendship that's going, if you become friends with your buddy, it's not something that stops once you end a TLU. We met again when I went to Korea. And then she came back to Europe and she dropped by Tallinn to visit her friends because she had a lot of friends. And so we met again. And if I ever go next time, I think we'll probably try to meet in Japan. So it's kind of like, it's a good opportunity to sort of like get a friendly face and then often like just a good friend who's going to show you around. And I have really nice memories of like taking a group of students to the old town. It's like August, it's beautiful sunsets. And where I'm just taking them, I was like, this is a really good restaurant. Don't go to that one because it's not so good. And like, you show them around. And then we had to find a restaurant for 19 people without a booking. We managed, but God, it was difficult. And then you had like 19 students just running after a tram, which we did catch, but it can create some really fun moments. And then sometimes you meet some of them in classes as well. And that can be really interesting because I've had some friends and buddies who are like kind of confused because they're like, we don't do like a lot of presentations, in our university. So like I'm a little like startled about what to do. This is also mainly for the exchange students. But in your experience, based on like, because you obviously studied in a different country before, like what was your experience sort of like adapting to the way that studies are done at TLU?
Well, I would like to start that here. I got an experience of working with multicultural students from all over the world that has not been like an experience to me back in my country. In my class, I have a lot of like students from Brazil, from US, from Bangladesh, India, like China. So the multicultural environment which I'm getting under the roof of Tallinn University classroom is amazing for me. And that's where I learn. That's where I understand that being different is being beautiful. We all are different, and in that way, we are beautiful.
I would say because my bachelor's was in India, so it was kind of like I was already in a different environment, and the system in India versus Nigeria as well is, in a sense, I had to memorize a lot. And so it's like you had exams and constantly had to like memorize and put it down. But I got here, I did a bachelor's for a year and then switched to a master's and now doing the PhD. But my experience so far, I'd saying that there's this push to think critically, right? And so it's not necessarily about you copy paste stuff to your brain or even copy paste into the paper. It's more about like, hey, what processes are you, what thoughts do you have about this topic? How's your argument like? And so I find that very easy. It's a lot more, the stress is reduced for me. Like again, with assignments, with essays, it's just like, oh, this is what you have to do. They already have a structure. And so they're like, okay, this, and that kind of helps you formulate your paper really well. So it's been easy. That's what I would say, because there's a lot of leeway to make an argument. Let's see your thoughts, right? And so I find that really easy, that there's a push to think critically about topics that you are passionate about, especially like, I'm doing anthropology and I'm always pushing for the anthropology department, right? But even the English, Western European Studies program as well, because we constantly want students to express themselves, right? And I find that Tallinn University gives that opportunity. I've talked to other university students from outside Tallinn University, and when they talk about some of their struggles, I'm like, I can't relate because Tallinn University does not give me that trouble. You see, so that's been my own experience, to be honest.
I will agree that like I come from Hong Kong and this is my second bachelor's. So in a sense, it's not that different in that like I'm already comfortable with how things go, but also I feel like yes, I agree that there is a lot of leeway. Like of course you have to do your readings. Of course, like there are assignments, there are teamwork and group projects and all that. But personally, I like the way that, for example, I'm doing liberal arts and humanities, but I managed to enroll in some electives that are offered by the School of Digital Technologies. Maybe partly it's because of the program, but partly it's also about how this university views learning is a holistic concept. It's not very rigid in the way that you're just here for the curriculum, you're just here for this like credits, you just do the exam and you go, right? It's not like that. Like they care about like how you develop as a person and how is it going to be for your career and how is it going to be for you academically. So I really like this aspect.
I have to agree, obviously. I think this is also because three of us are from the humanities as well, and we are both from the same program. And our program particularly is very much focused on that holistic approach to studying. So we have, for instance, a lot more room for like electives that we choose compared to other programs. But yeah, in general, I agree. And especially because I studied in the UK before, and it was also like, it was quite similar. But then I went to South Korea, and I came back being like, okay, we have a really strong humanities department at TLU because I think just obviously they give you a lot of freedom and they want you to like be critical, they want you to innovate, and also they're here like when you ask questions, like they are going to answer you. Some lecturers, they will even like they speak to you at length to answer your questions, which is amazing because then also it creates a really good opportunity to create bonds with the teachers because they're not just like right in front of you in the classroom and then it ends. You can you can chat with them, and that's really nice. But I thought we had a really nice like level of expectations as well because like for the essays that we write, like we don't, especially in the humanities, we don't have that many like in-class exams. We have like essays, which I was talking about this with someone earlier, and they were like, "Oh my god, I love how we have this because like in-class exams are so stressful." But for us, I think it works really well, and it really challenges us, and we have a lot of freedom to choose what we want to discuss. And for instance, like I'm finishing up my degree right now, and with all the essays that I've written over the course of the semesters, like I've got, like they're not just all random, like they are piling up to sort of like a corpus of essays that are related to similar topics that I can build on further on as I go into my academic career. So like they really give you a good sort of opportunity and like the ground to sort of like support you as you make your way up. And I think that's really, really good.
I have to add something. I just want to share an experience that in my course we do have like professors from like Morocco, from Spain, and for Sweden. So in my course, I get an opportunity from Tallinn University that a professor from another university come here and share his or her views, and that's amazing for me, and that's never been back in my country.
Yeah, I agree. For the international part, we can move on to that a little bit because there are quite a few foreign lecturers here, and there are a lot of activities as well that are organized to include the international students to have a thriving student community. And so I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about this. This is specifically a question for you, Mr. ESN President. Please tell us about that.
So I'm currently serving. I have to say that serving as president of the ESN TLUIC. So basically, the acronym Erasmus Student Network, Tallinn University International Club. So what we do basically, we work with the internationalization committee. That's Ingrid Ineosa and Ingrid. Shout out to Ingrid. And we basically up with the buddy system where, for example, we talked about it a lot, right? But the club also organizes like social events. We're taking people for old town tours. We're taking them to do parties as well. Like there's certain event centers that we collaborate with. But again, you see, like the student experience is not necessarily only party and fun. So we also organize like project management courses. Like there's this thing called Skill Box, and so we teach them about time management, how to structure essays, all of that kind of stuff. Like that would help them be better and productive with academic work as well. So the club has been, I think we founded in 2006. So it's like, that means Tallinn University has been thinking about international students for a long time, right? And so 2006, and we get Erasmus students. We also get international students. And in a sense, it's kind of like we're building this community for new students. Because for me, when I came in 2019, it was kind of like the same thing that I had to go through, where I was already immersed into what it means to be an Estonian student, even though I was international, right? And so it was easier for me to talk to other people within the university because I already had Estonians in my space. Oh, and they go like, oh yeah, we've spoken to this person before. Like a friend would tell me, oh, I've spoken to this person before. This is how you talk to them. I'm like, okay. And I do the exact same thing, and that I get a good result, right? So there's community, there's friendship. We organize movie nights as well, almost every 2 weeks, and we use the Kino. Like we have this big cinema. Shout out to Tallinn University for that one too. And it's really fun. I would say that we kind of like see ourselves as one big family of international students.
And you guys have a WhatsApp group as well, right?
Yes, we have a WhatsApp group where we're constantly posting events and people are asking questions. Good thing about the club is that we're also collaborating with other universities. So there are times when we want to do something for all of the students that are in Tallinn, for example, and we have to collaborate with Tau Tech, collaborate with EBS, and we form just an event. Everybody has to be there, right? We're having one today, for example, like the farewell party for Erasmus students. So in a sense, that's one of the ways that I think Tallinn University has been, and we get a lot of funding from the university as well for some of the things we want to do. So that's one of the ways I think Tallinn University has made it easier for international students to, in a sense, settle quickly. Because I know other people that struggled during my time as well because they weren't in that kind of community. But for me, it was very easy. I already had links to different places. I already knew where I could get stuff in Old Town. I know that if I want to get milk at in Prisma, for example, it might be expensive than going to Selva, right? So I already knew all of these things because of the exposure I had with Estonian students and other international students. So in my experience and also working with the club, I find it very, it's easier to settle when you already have this community. Because you miss home, definitely. You miss your friends, you miss your family, but you're replacing them with other people or lots of events, lots of activities, and that carries your mind off of the nostalgia, I guess.
Yeah, I remember you guys organized some cultural event where I think so, have their food, national food, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, that's actually true. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, I forgot about that. So we usually have cultural evenings. So
Very fun stuff.
it's very fun stuff. You can talk. So basically, next semester, for example, I'm going to talk about. There's going to be Nigerian cultural evening, and I'm going to talk about Nigerian food, Nigerian music. There's going to be food as well, so people can eat some of our cuisines, right? But this semester, for example, we had the Estonian cultural evening, Azerbaijan cultural evening, Chinese as well, Japanese, and so there's Korean. Oh my days, yeah,
Yes.
Korean. Thank you.
Hosting.
You hosted that.
I was hosting.
And that's why I remember. I'm sorry. It's lots of evenings that we've had because we want to give opportunity for different cultures as well. So, and some of these things, students organize it themselves. Like, for example, the Korean one, you did it practically,
With the Sejong Institute. But,
with the institute here. So we have the opportunity for
Yeah, it's great for interpersonal communication and building up community, your student community. It's very important to gel in with other cultures. So,
and I would say that I think it's also constantly kind of developing the student life because, for instance, this semester, the Japanese club, which they started, I think, last year or 2 years ago, and they're doing so many things. They're doing Japanese language cafe, which I think is really good because they're also sometimes you're interested in some areas, but the classes are in Estonian, so you can't really participate. But then, you do have alternatives because you might not be able to take the Japanese language course, but you can join in at the Japanese language cafe. And then it's really interesting because I know a bunch of my Japanese friends, they go there and they participate because they enjoy the opportunity to share their culture and make new friends as well. And there are lots of events happening all the time. So I think that's something that I've noticed in general. It's if anyone tells you that there's nothing to do at TLU or in Tallinn, they're lying. They're lying. They don't know where to look. They don't know where to look. That is one of the things that I would say about Tallinn is that I love how easy it makes it to access culture. You can really easily go to kind of really big events, but because Estonia is on such a small scale, it's really easy to access them. Going to the opera, you can get 50% off with a student discount. So and it's really easy to book it. A lot of the information as well, when you look for things online, they're available in English. They've got Estonian and English usually translation, so that also makes it really easy and convenient. And there's several cinemas. Gotta mention Puff.
Yep.
Everyone, this is the Tallinn Black Nights Film Festival. If you go there as a volunteer, you get to watch movies for free. Trust me, it is quite the opportunity. But yeah, no, it's amazing. And, I recommended it to Tony, for instance, and I recommend it to all the students who come because there's so many different activities, even in Tallinn in general, outside the university, that people can get involved in. And then you've got those creations that connect as well. Like the Sidjong Institute, for instance, right now, they're doing language classes, but they're doing a lot of events as well. So it's kind of like, you're not going to be bored. Like at first, you might need a bit of time to sort of like figure out where stuff is. But then, once you get into those networks and those connections with other people, and you can ask like the older students as well, say, okay, what's good to go? Like here, where should I go? And then you can really take part into not just like Tallinn student life, but like Tallinn life in general. And honestly, for me, it's been such a blast. Like I think we all agree.
There's even because every institute has got their own kind of club as well. So I know that for example, humanities, we've got TUI, right? And so for me, it's like you have things to do. If you get bored of reading your books, you have something else to do, right? You get to talk to other students, and if you get bored of that, you go back into the reading, right? And so that balance is something I think Tallinn University offers. Like in my experience, there are times when I just want to party and I'm able to socialize, and there are times when I'm like, oh, okay, this is too much. Let's get back into the books, and you're able to do that as well. And most of the institutes collaborate with each other. I know that there was. For example, we had the Christmas party for the humanities department, and it was at a very nice spot. The food was great, so you get to even talk to, and all of our professors were there, and so we're playing games with them. It's kind of like I like that it's there's no hierarchy in that sense. People are able to talk to each other, and we can also socialize as well. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, and also with social stuff, we have this ISIC card that you can get as a student.
That's how you get the opera discount, guys.
Yes, and we've got the ESM cards as well, and you get discounts on Ryanair, for example, if you want to
I
travel.
want to add something on it. As for my experience, like Tallinn University gave me an experience of visiting on a like student mobility program to Rome. I went to Tor Vergata University, Italy, through Tallinn University on a Erasmus program, and that was a shorter program that's called a student mobility program for 7 days. And I don't have to pay anything. I'm being funded, so it's an amazing experience, and I would thank Tallinn University a lot for that.
I just have to say that like it's like so true. There's the things you can do here is mind-numbing. There are so many options. Of course, you have to get out there. You have to. It's entirely up to you. Like if you don't choose anything, like no one's gonna spoon feed or force you to do anything. Like you can entirely like be comfortable with whatever you are, but also if you want to do something, there is always so much. Like there are like free gym events, and there are or even like just like even like let's say if you're not into like parties and events, I just took a 30-minute bus to the nature park like this, like to take it. To get the fresh air, and the nature in Estonia was so famous. So, like it's just like a great selection of options that you can,
And in general, I think a lot of the students who come to TLU, they travel a lot, especially Asian students. Like if you have friends from like Japan or Korea, especially Korea, like you will not see them. Like they are all over like Europe basically, which is super fun because then you watch their Instagram story and you're like, wow, how many countries have you done? Like it's crazy. But even other European students, like it gives them a really nice opportunity to sort of like explore the region. And a lot of people go to, take the ferry, go to Helsinki, or like I remember I went to Riga. You can just take the bus. It's very convenient, and it's really nice. And nature in Estonia is also like it's really, really beautiful. So I think it's just like you get to experience like Estonia, but then they also have really good programs as well. Like I mean, for me, my exchange like it was not Erasmus, but it was a bilateral agreement. And they got me all the way to like South Korea, like that's not an easy thing. And it was amazing. And I think those, because we were talking about the buddy program earlier, and those I think work together because one of the buddies that I had, he was from Gyeonggi. And so I welcomed him, I showed him around. And then when I went to Korea, because I went to his university, he showed me around campus. He came to pick me up at the airport. And that was amazing because, I could imagine before, going from so far away when the students came to Estonia, but this time it was my turn to sort of like take the big step on the other side of the world. And it does help so much to know that there's going to be a friendly face like welcoming you. And yeah, and then even in general, Estonians, as we said, they're very friendly. So if you engage in events and things like that, it's quite easy actually to make new friends. Sometimes they're a bit shy, but like everybody is shy. It's just Estonians are a little more. But you find your way around, and you can. Speaking about Estonian and people, let's talk about the language a little bit because. Most Estonians speak English anyway, so actually that's not even like a big barrier when you want to make friends. But how has it been making friends with Estonian people, and also like did you try to involve the language when you tried to make friends with them? Did you learn Estonian? I see by your face.
So for me, like I said, my experience has been that it's very easy to make Estonian friends. So and when relating to the language, for example, like I am currently probably at A2 level Estonian, which it's not great because I've been here 5 years. I should do better, right? But the struggle has been that every time I need to practice Estonian, my Estonian friends are gonna speak back in English, right? So it's been a struggle to get my Estonian friends to speak back in Estonian because it's just like, you know what, Moses, let's just switch back to English, and I'm like, okay, but outside of like that joke part, you can actually, because I did it as well, you can get to do the A1, A2, the levels, B1 as well.
For us, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory, yes. It was mandatory for us as well.
Yeah.
So you get to do that as a student, and there are also there's this program outside of Tallinn University. I think it's the Settle in Estonia program, and they also offer and it's free of charge to do all the language levels. That was where I actually got.
Click.com.
Yes.
Oh, Kelly Click.
Yeah, Kelly Click as well. That's where I learned some of the words that I know, A1, A2. And for example, you can also go for, I think there's a library very close to this hotel, probably Ülikool Hotel. There's a library there, and they offer language cafes as well. So every Mondays you go in there and you get to practice spoken Estonian with people that are also learning, right? Of course, I would say that you can navigate Tallinn, navigate Estonia only with English, but I found that there are some nuances that would probably be better if you pick up in Estonian, if you can speak the language. But as an international student, I have not struggled that much with the language, like in settling, for example, because like I said, classes, at least for me, my classes are in English. I get to write my essays in English. Everything that relates to being a student works really well in English for me. But there are times when I think, again, if you're thinking about, this is my honest opinion, that if you're thinking of staying long term in Estonia, which usually happens to a lot of people, that you come in here and you already fall in love, you want to learn the language as fast as you can. So my advice, I usually tell this to the club members as well, that pick up the language as fast as you can, because the longer you stay, the more you're like, oh, I can actually navigate the country without the language, so I'm going to relax a little bit. But no, don't just pick it up immediately. Start learning, and then it becomes easier. There's lots of Estonian literature that personally I find interesting that I constantly have to translate, which is not as great. But if I'd picked up the language a while ago, it would have been easier to read some of these books. So, but there are language programs definitely at the university that you can take to get better at Estonian. But mostly you can survive without having to.
You could practice also like quite easily because, for instance, if you go to the opera, like if you get the like. It's not subtitles, but like subtitles, like in English and in Estonian usually. And I also had to do A2. And I thought I lost everything when I came back. And I was like, oh no, this is so shameful. But I've lost most of my speaking. But I can still get around to like order a basic thing, which I usually don't because you can do it in English. But sometimes you do, especially for like older Estonians, like they don't really speak English. So, when you just kind of like, oh, I also have my bag, or like, just thank you, hello, because, as a reminder, Estonia is a small country and there are not I think there's about 1 million people who speak Estonian in general. So usually my Estonian friends are really happy when you make an effort, even if it's not a big effort that you're fluent in Estonian, but just to be like, hey, how do I say this? Or how do I say that word? Or, you just say hi or bye. And it's maybe not much, but it's nice to have that little, because you do need just a basic, hello, goodbye. And it is nice. Yeah, even if it's comfy to be doing things in English, but then it's really great. I remember and even now, sometimes I can hear basic conversation next to me and you're like, I can actually understand. So it's kind of like, well, you're in the best place to practice Estonian. This is the best place in the world because, so yeah. But Tony, you're in the middle of doing Estonian right now. Tell us about it.
Well, I just finished the A1 exam. It's my first semester here, but I have to say that it's not. It is a tool to help you get to know people, help you communicate, but it's not just a tool because, for example, when you start picking up these words, I still it's very hard to understand a complete sentence when locals are speaking very fast. But here and there, I pick up a word or two. They say "praigu." I know that they're talking about something now, and something like that. Or when I start to be able to tell the difference between sees and seen, things like this. I actually feel, I don't know. I feel that I'm actually becoming more native, as a matter of degree, Then and I like the fact that you can survive here with Estonian, but you're more than welcome to try.
Yeah.
And people are not mean at all. They don't judge, and they encourage you and they help you. They try to ask questions "Do you mean this?" Or so it's the perfect place to learn a language. I have to say, and yeah, it's not just about getting around or the necessity, but also developing yourself and just experiencing something new. And being in a country that is Estonia, you want to get the most out of it. And yeah, it's just entirely up to you.
I want to add a few things for the language course. I cleared my A1 just when I was in the first semester. Now I'm doing A2. I have few favorite words in Estonian, like hea taiga. I love that while saying bye. And my favorite sentence is kas ma saan sind aidata? Can I help you? So so this language is very beautiful. If you study it, it's very melodious, soft. And we have a word like ciao. We say that same in Italian and same in Estonian.
Very differently.
And the best thing about Estonian is that you had a formal Estonian and an informal Estonian. While you're talking to elders, you have to say some words differently and some words differently for youngsters. That's I never got in any other language, so it's.
For me, the politeness degree is pretty common because we do have formal and informal in French, and then in Korean there's even more. But yeah, no, it is definitely nice, and then it does create a nice conversation point with your friends. I remember during because there are lots of conferences happening at TLU as well, and I was volunteering in which you can do by the way during one of the conferences in August, and I was at the front desk, and so people were asking me stuff, and I was asking my friend who was Estonian next to me, how do I reply to this in Estonian? And so she gave me the sentence and I wrote it down and I was like, you have to go that way. So yeah, no, I would say Estonian in itself is not that hard. It's just once you get the grammar is just, and that's coming from a French person. We have terrible grammar as well. But yeah. So, but besides the cases in the grammar, because that's going to be hard for everyone, the vocabulary in itself is not that hard, and especially for German students, every time there's German students, they pick it up really quickly because they're like, this is like German but written as it sounds. Or the ones who have it the easiest are Finnish students, because it's the same language family.
Yeah, Finnish, Greek, yeah.
Yeah. They pick the language very fast and in a way.
I know, right? I went to see a Finnish film during PUF, and there was Estonian subtitles. Sometimes I was like, "Why are you putting subtitles? It sounds the exact same. What are you talking about? It's the same word." But yeah, no, it's great language, and yeah, the hea taiga is always a little. It was always nice. It means have a good day. Yeah, I think we might be wrapping up soon, but do you have one special fact or anecdote about your experience in Tallinn that you would like to share with our audience? It can be something small. It can be something cute, funny.
I got something. It's just entirely random because I come from Hong Kong. We speak Cantonese, it's a mother tongue. So a bus station will be Ba Si Zam. And for some reason, the way they write bus station in Thailand is Bu Siam. The spelling is exactly like how we would spell out Ba Si Zam in Cantonese.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, and all the friends who came here for travel, when I was here for traveling, noticed this in the bus station. It's like, isn't it like Ba Si Zam, like bus station? And it actually means bus station, like Bu Siam. And it sounds kind of similar, but like the writing is like exactly the same. And that's the one thing that I'm like mind blown. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
No. You can.
I remember that my Estonian professor, Eli Ada, led whole of our class to Old Town, and the girl who was leading the whole batch let us know about the history of Estonia. Like, this was the most amazing and beautiful part for me because I do have my own DSLR and I start clicking up the pictures and I like make up an assignment for my class, and that went so well. So I actually captured the beauty of the old town by myself. So I must say this is the best part to me I can share.
I don't have my phone here, but there's a picture I have. I was in an interview some days ago, and this lady was doing something about tourism in Estonia, and she was like, "What's your basically the same question you asked, right?" And it was that picture that I had, and I was a Pirita, right? And the sun was about to set, and it was actually reflecting on the surface of the water, and it was kind of golden, right? And that's how every time I leave Estonia and I think about Estonia, that's what I usually get, like the sun on the water. Because again, you're looking at the history of Estonia and the story of survival, of struggle, of like liberating yourselves, and that in itself is beautiful. So I mean, there's still a lot of time for me here, I would say. So, but that's my perception. That's my first impression, and it stayed that the people are resilient.
Yes.
Like it's winter, like definitely, like it's winter and people are still outside. They're able to like do stuff. Like I make this joke all the time because I'm Nigerian, right? And the sun's always out, so we're pretty relaxed people, right? And I'm like, if you put a Nigerian in Estonia, for example, I'm okay. This is me being very optimistic, but I don't think that we're gonna do stuff in winter. We're just gonna be inside all the time. Where nothing's gonna run, which is because we want the sun to be out. But Estonians are like, yeah. There's this joke that my friends used to make. I'm like, oh, it's snowing outside. I don't want to come out. Like, are you made of sugar? And I'm like, like no. He's like, get that jacket on and come outside. And I'm like, okay, I'll be out. And that story of resilience of you go out there and do stuff. That's my perception of Estonia and our people. Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to add that couldn't emphasize enough like the variety or diversity is like if you want to stick to the old town or like the urban part of Thailand or Estonia, that's totally fine. But like once you step outside for a little bit, just like even within
Thailand, like if you go to Mustamer, if you go to Pirita, if you go to Kadriok, there is so much nature. And I went to this countryside, small town, and at like 8 p.m. or something, it's total pitch black outside of the bus station. For some reason, I like this sense of this choice. You don't have to be there, but if you want, you can get that like peace, and like that's the one thing that I was thinking of like right from the day when I applied for this program, and it actually delivered on that promise.
And especially the waterfalls as well, like the Kela waterfall. So if you want to enjoy nature, Estonia is for you and Tallinn is for you. Like Prita, Kela, and Kadriorur Park is also very,
I do have to agree that I like the darkness. For me, that I love that it's dark like so early. I'm like, oh yeah, and my friends are always like, are you crazy? And I'm like, no. Okay, the weather was part of my criteria when I came here. Okay, so yeah, no, for me, I love that it's dark. So I hate the summer because because I go to bed at 4 a.m. and I'm like, no, sun, go away. But it's too late. It's too late. There's no night. But yeah, it's difficult to pick one anecdote important for me in particular because I'm leaving very soon. So, which he doesn't believe. He keeps saying I'm traveling, but
Estonia does that.
yeah. No, that is true. That is true. Estonia does make people come back. Like, if I have the opportunity later on, I will come back, particularly for the film festival. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no. If I have to pick one fun anecdote, because I like saying that to people, so I can see their horrified faces, is that we went ice swimming when it was like minus 14 degrees with my friends, and I showed them the video. And when I sent it to my brother the first time, he was like, "This looks like a place where you dump like radioactive waste," because it was just like, it was not a big thing. It was like such a small, like there was a little sauna. You go there, you put like your €3 like coin. There's no one, and then you go and it's basically just ice, and they just dug a hole in it. And so because it was so dark, my brother was like, "Where did you go?" But it was really fun actually. And then it's quite the experience. But I really enjoyed it. And I think that's kind of like the key takeaway here is that Tallinn is gonna give you so many different experiences. And they're just out there. And I think compared to other countries, it's so easy to like just reach them and then to engage with people, with the culture, and just with Tallinn and Tallinn University in general. So that would be a good ending point, I think, that if you come to TLU, if you come to Tallinn, you'll meet lots of great people. You'll have a lot of opportunities to engage with Estonian culture, but also the neighboring region. And you'll just have a really, really great time. You can trust us. All right. Thank you very much and have a good end of the virtual opening day.